I'm wondering if you can hear me now. Hopefully you can hear me now. Let me know, everyone. So that's fun. The first, 10 minutes of this show will have no audio, and no one will know what I said. Ha ha! I'm not going to repeat it, though. You can go back and lip sync if you really want. Let's see. If I turn this up here. So that's fun. The first. Yep. Looks like we got audio. Gonna keep that muted. Yay! We got audio. All right. Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Gabe, for bearing with me and letting me know. Yeah. See, this software, it'll work, but what's interesting about this software is that it's not really designed for the person on camera to be using it. I'm definitely trying to do a little bit too much here, but you know what? You do what you can do, right? Uh, what was yesterday? Yesterday was projects. What's today? Client work. Lots of client work. Meetings, meetings, meetings. You know, I gotta say, it seems like since everyone figured out how to use Zoom, that's what the whole world is now. Can we do a Zoom meeting? Can we have a Zoom meeting? I'd like to have a Zoom meeting. Let's have a Zoom meeting. Maybe we should have a Zoom meeting. I know what it really is. Here's what I think it really is. I think a lot of people are just out of touch and just want to connect and see faces and hear voices, and I get that. Oh, you know what happened on Friday? I launched the strength and conditioning program. It's up online for $19.99. Go buy it. There is no workout program you will find that comes anywhere close for even what? Half? For even double? Find me something for under 50 bucks that does a better job or even comes close. You're not going to find it. It's a good program. I'm really pumped about it. We put a lot of time into it, and it will keep getting improved, and you will get all the upgrades for free. I've already got a few ideas, but we've got to sell a few copies first. What did we sell? We sold 3 on Friday. Woo! Um, Once we sell a few dozen, and I see that there's some momentum behind it, I've got the next a few of the improvements planned. And unlike what most companies seem to do with their workout programming, it's not just making the physical papers look better, which we'll do, but I've got some ideas for future iterations of or additional workouts. There are a handful of movements that we didn't use, and so those will become another block. The workout's arranged into 3 blocks, and we're going to add a 4th block. So. Costa Rican coffee this morning. Ground a bunch more Friday. Yeah. What else happened? Oh! Stay right there. I'm going to show you something. I'm back. You know what this is? Guess what this is? It's a jar. Guess what's in the jar? Maple sap. So I got it in my head last weekend, not a day ago, but a week and a day ago, that I needed to tap the 2 red maple trees on my property. I knew, I only found out recently that I could tap those. I thought you could only get maple sugar from sugar maple trees. That would make sense, wouldn't it? But I learned I was wrong, and sometimes I'm happy to be wrong. And in this case, I was, because I have 2 huge, beautiful red or scarlet maple trees in front of my house, and I got my hands on some maple syrup taps, and then got my hands on some buckets, and I tapped them, and that sap came mostly, 3/4 of it was from one of the trees within 24 hours. Absolutely tons of sap coming out of that tree. It was nuts. Now there's 2 things I could do with that. I could boil it down and make, that much syrup, or I could just drink it as is, which is what I'm doing. Because you can do that. Because it's tasty. It's good for you. It has all these, it's got, what is it, potassium, some other stuff. So I was thinking about trying to make some kind of a drink with it. You know, whiskey and maple sap. I don't know what I would call it, but it'd be something. All right. Well, let's take a look at the questions. Oh, go back. Go back. There we go. Gotta close that there. Okay. I'm going to have to move back and forth between the questions and this. This is... Oh, you know what I could do? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave the computer as is. All right. Frank threw us a bonus joke, and I'm going to start with that. Did you hear about the two bed bugs that fell in love? They were married in the spring. Frank, what I think I appreciate most about your jokes is that I don't recall you repeating any of them yet. You've got quite the catalog of jokes. So we got a couple more questions. Spring is here, and with it, for many of us, come allergies. What natural solutions are you familiar with to treat them? Allergies are your body rejecting something. And the stronger the effect, the more it indicates to me that your body's not really prepared to fight it off. Think of it this way. If you've got one person who's allergic to pollen and one person who is not, and I'm allergic to pollen, yes, there's a genetic component. But as with anything else that our body faces, the healthier you are, the better your body's going to be able to handle it. So I would say through allergy season, cutting back on your dairy, making sure you're eating really good quality food, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, keeping your alcohol consumption low, all the things that you would do if you were fighting off a cold or, you know, potentially getting sick. And right now, given what's going on with everybody, if you really want to make sure that you either get through or avoid this illness, this is what you do, right? You're eating the best quality food, you're sleeping as much as you can. I think I've talked about this. But the same applies for allergies, the same applies for a cold, the same applies for anything. We know the things that make our body healthy and keep our body healthy, support that health. And the same thing applies for allergies. Now, if you're looking for extra stuff, the number one thing, and I'll admit, I don't know a ton about this because my allergies pop up so infrequently, and by infrequent, I mean every few years, that I haven't spent the time exploring this. Local honey is what's generally considered to be the best thing. So here's what local honey is. Local honey is honey that comes from the flowers as close to your house as possible. The logic being that the pollen used to make the honey it's kind of a homeopathic. It's your body, it's letting your body know, hey, these things here, these are not foreign invaders we need to fight off. This is food. And your body goes, oh, okay. I won't have a runny nose and crusty eyes and sneeze all the time. What else can you do? A neti pot, which I'm the first one to admit it's the most miserable experience. It's like waterboarding yourself. It sucks, but it's effective. So there are times when I'm sick that I'm really congested that I will force myself to use it and just. Make sure you use filtered water or distilled water when you use a neti pot. Like good filtered water. I don't mean just a Brita. I mean something that you know is really safe. because you're shoving water up by your brain. We got anything else? What else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else for allergies. I mean, you've got your standard antihistamines. High doses of vitamin C can mimic an antihistamine. And what's nice about vitamin C is it's water. It's a water-soluble vitamin, so you can't overdose on it. You know, you're just gonna flush it out when you urinate. So that might be beneficial. Yeah, those are the biggies I got for you. I'm sure there's other stuff out there. I'm just not really spun up on that subject. Oh, and we've got an episode. Of course, we have an episode. It's Monday. See, there's a benefit to me looking at this thing. Today with my guest, Mr. Peter Sorcy, and pause, scroll. It was a great conversation. I'll admit, I recorded the episode weeks ago and recorded the intro and outro weeks ago. So I've forgotten a little bit about the specifics on him. Here's an interesting tangent for you. For those of you who are watching, you might find this interesting. My memory is built a lot on emotion. And I don't think this is how most people do things, but I might be wrong. Just from, you get to be 40 and you talk to people and you get a sense that maybe your brain is wired up a little differently. I remember the emotion I felt when I talked to Mr. Sorcy. I remember the interview emotions from most of the episodes. I don't remember their names. Well, I don't remember episode numbers. I don't remember always what we talk about. I remember how I felt. And that can make it really difficult for me to say, oh, episode 48, Mr. Peter Sorcy, we talked about blah, 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 blah. I just recorded 5 intros and outros on Friday. We have a great buffer of episodes, which is awesome. But, man. The facts, because of the way we do this show, the facts of who and what can sometimes run together. And it's embarrassing. We had a moment where we were in discussion with somebody coming on the show, and I had this freak out moment where I thought I had interviewed them before. And I hadn't, and Leslie knew that I hadn't, and the guest knew that I hadn't. And I didn't speak that. I mean, it's the first time I bring this up to anybody. But I was terrified for a moment that we had done so many interviews that I had managed to forget a name. If you gave me a name, if you gave me flashcards and said, has this person been on the show, that I could tell you yes or no. But if you asked me their episode, that I'm not going to be able to tell you except for a handful. And most of them are in the first 50. I can tell you roughly when most of them were. Maybe give or take 50 to 100 episodes. Because let's face it, we're coming up on a year. Actually, I think I uploaded the first 3 episodes 5 years ago today. That's kind of cool. And then they went live 2 days later, the first one with Master Alexander. No, all 3 went live on day 1, which was, I think, April 1st or 2nd or something of 2015. It's been quite the ride. All right, last question for today. What was that? No, come back. Spring is also a time for cleaning and organizing. Do you have any thoughts on that? Yes, I think, especially now with most people occupying their home space much more, I think it's a great time to do what you need to do to feel good about that space. I have been on this mission for the last year, purging things that I don't need, and that's a challenge for me, especially since I have a fair amount of physical space. I've got 2 garages. There are plenty of people. I've been told this is a regional thing. I'm not entirely sure, but in New England, garages are often not a place that you keep a car. They're a place you keep all kinds of stuff. And now I have 1 car. I don't need 2 garages. What's the other one? The other one's the warehouse. That whole first floor is set up with a bunch of stuff I don't need anymore that I was planning on having a yard sale with. Well, prime yard sale time is, what are we, 6 weeks out? So we'll see. I feel better in any space when it's clean and when it's organized and when it's intentional. And right now I'm looking around, there are some unintentional things, some things that have to be put back because there was a project going on in a closet, digging out. I'll tell you what it was. I had an old fire safe from my father, and I kept stuff in it, and I had the lock kind of jammed, so I only had to turn it to the last number to open it. Apparently in the last couple weeks since I'd been in there, it decided to not open. Oh, no big deal. I went to the place I left the combination. Wasn't there. I went to the other place that was kind of similar that maybe my brain was wiring it wrong. Wasn't there either. Tried again. Took everything out of those 2 spaces. Wasn't there. Well, time to figure out how to open a safe. And I did. It took 3 crowbars, in case you were interested. But that now creates a very large space that I can reorganize that closet and put some things back. And that is creating the opportunity to set up a green screen, and so I'm excited for that. There's more video coming, a lot more video coming. I'm getting better at this, as hopefully you can tell, and I'm excited for that. I'm checking back periodically on the comments because I have to be intentional about looking at them. Oh, Gabe has an allergy comment. I grew into my allergies and they seem to be getting worse every year. I did raw honey for a couple years and it helped at first, then essential oils helped some, but now nothing seems to work. Could be the quality of the oils or the honey, it could be a lot of things. If you haven't tried a neti pot, you know, if your allergies are really bad, I would try that. You might also consider an air filter, especially in your bedroom. I've got one that it's a HEPA filter, but it's also got some, it's got an ultraviolet bulb, and it's loud, so I don't keep it on when I'm in the house, but when I leave, my humidifier gets cranked up. This is especially right now. My humidifier gets cranked up, this filter gets cranked up, my ceiling fans go on, and I just try to move the air as much as possible to filter out that junk and keep some moisture in the air. Yeah, allergies suck. Here's an interesting story for you. I woke up once, I was probably 8, and this is the only time this has ever happened. I couldn't open my eyes. The pollen had gotten so bad overnight, and my eyes were crusty. I could not open them. And that was pretty scary, and I remember this vividly because it was kind of traumatic. And so I got out of bed and went, okay, I know where I am. My eyes feel crusty. I bet if I put some water on them, I'll be okay. So I found my way to the bathroom, put some water on my eyes, and I was fine. There was also a very interesting experience one time. This has only happened once, and I don't even think I was 8. I might have been 6 or 7. Where I woke up and brain to my body, it was reversed. I tried to go right and I went left. Wasn't with forward or back, but it was with right to left. So growing up, laying in bed, there was a wall here. So you get off on this side. So I roll over and I rolled into the wall. I was like, wait, that's weird. And I managed to figure it out in about 30 seconds. I went, okay. When I go right, I actually go left. And I had to figure it out. And once I got out to the daylight, once my eyes were able to remind my brain where things were, I was fine. It's never happened again. It was one of the weirdest experiences of my life. That's an interesting detour we just took. All right. Finishing up that last question about cleanliness, organization. This is a great time to do it. It's spring, we're all inside. Arrange your space in a way that brings you joy. If there are things that are out that you don't like, that you look at, put them away. Put them in a box. Write down what's on the box. Put it somewhere. Make lists of what goes in the box. I know that the more time I have to spend in my office, if that office is not well organized, if it's not clean, I resist being in there. The more organized I can keep it, the happier I am. And I don't mind being in there so much. I put a couple plants in there a couple months ago. It made a big difference. We often look at our space as a place we need to be. Make it a place you want to be. What is it about going to wherever you train that you want to be there? You associate the physical space with something that you enjoy. Do the same thing with your home. If you have a home office, how can you bring some joyful things in there? For me, it's plants. For you, it might be pictures or souvenirs, physical memories of things. It's a great time to figure out what you love and don't love about your space. So, all right. I'm going to go. Wow, that's nearly a 30-minute episode. Look at that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Once I figured that out. Thanks for letting me know, guys. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Make sure you check out that episode of Mr. Peter Sorcy. Subscribe, turn on notifications. We do this show every weekday morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern here on YouTube. And yeah, share it with a friend. Go check out the strength and conditioning program. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Peace.